It is the Blue Room. It is your instant match reaction to not Nottingham, whatever you want to call them, Forest. Nil, Everton 1. The Blues have gone and they have scored a 94th minute winner on the road, which, according to Gav Buckland, is the latest Everton away winner on record. Can you believe it? And they've gone there and they've got a win. The performance very much deserved. I am Matt Jones. Joining me to talk, I imagine, mainly about that goal and that moment. There's not much else happened in the game. Is Les Roberts. Les, I mean, we've never had one. I was going to say it's been ages since we had one of them, but based on Gav's stats, we've never had one like that before. But it just felt so good, didn't it, when that went in?
Yeah, that really surprised me, that stat, because I don't know, it didn't feel. I mean, I know it was dead late in the game, but it feels like we've scored later. But I guess with the amount of time added on, but yeah, it was just an incredible way to end a pretty non-event of a game, but one that Everton played really well in, considering the opposition and the quality of the opposition. You know, whatever you say about Forest, whether you think they're a decent team or not, they could have gone within 2 points of could have gone within 2 points of Arsenal today. It was second place. Now, it kind of backs up the thought that the league isn't very good this season, which we've said, and fans of other clubs might argue otherwise, but it just, I think it kind of does show the lack of quality in the league, that we can go there and have it. It was a pretty dominant display. I think Nuno said that himself at the end of the game in his post-match. He said, Everton dominated it. So for us to go there and do that after a run of, I don't think we've won since Palace, have we?
No.
So we've not won in 2 months. So although we've only lost one in that time and we've been drawing games, and this probably should have ended up a draw, but for the final minutes of the game, I think it does just show how far we've kind of come in this short spell under Moyes, especially if you compare it to the corresponding home game, where it was probably the other way around. Forest just kind of walked through us, didn't they, and easily beat us. And today they just didn't look like it. So, it's testament to how far we've come. And I think that 13th place is in our sights,
Hunting down whoever's in 13th. Yeah. But, let's just go to the end and talk about Doucouré, because for long spells of that game, it was just your classic Abdoulaye Doucouré, wasn't it? You sat there watching him, you're pulling your hair out, you're thinking, how is he staying on the pitch for the entire game? He's doing your head in, and then it's just like, I think with him, and do you know what I really liked about the goal? I was just very pleased he took it first time. Yeah. He just feel like when he's just got to do something on instinct, he tends to be better. Like, all of his great goals for Everton, like down the years, the important ones have all been, first time finishes. You think of the two at Brighton, obviously you think of the Bournemouth one. You think of like the goal he scored at Brentford last year, which sort of took down and hit really quickly. So he's got to do things fast, and he's not got that time to sort of process things in his head. And that situation, he could have taken a touch. The ball's coming across from quite clearly for a while, but he just thinks, head down, get it on target, and I'll finish. Listen, I feel like we've spoken about Doucouré so much on the Blue Room, so much down the years, and we've tried to understand what makes him tick and why managers love him and why he stays in the team. And today, Les, maybe finally we should just give up and just appreciate him for what he is, which is a player who will do your head in a lot of the time, but he will just, every so often, he will just come up with a moment of magic like that makes you realise that he's going to be somebody that's going to be talked about for, in what has been a pretty miserable spell in our recent history, in our history in general. Yeah, he has been a shining light at times, hasn't he?
It's bizarre to say that, isn't it? Because if you go on his performances, you never come out of a game thinking, apart from maybe Brighton away, Doucouré bossed that today. He was great. He was brilliant. He was all over the place. Because it's often, he is all over the place all the time. He's like, you can't fault his closing down, his energy, his work rate. You cannot fault any of that. It's just when he gets the ball, he's not very good with it. Like you say, if he has to think about stuff, if he takes a touch, he'll invariably mess it up. And we're talking like a 5-yard pass here. It's so frustrating to watch. But then, when he does pop up with that and he does just do that instinctive finish, which, there's a lot of players like that who, if they have to think about it, I don't know, it's sort of, once you take that second touch, it's like the chance is almost gone. And I think players like that need to appreciate that more themselves. I think Beto's the same as well. We've seen a couple of times, like, when his goal scoring streak kind of dropped off. He was trying to be a bit cute and maybe take it around the keeper, where other times he'd done it, he'd just hit it first time. So yeah, he's just a very chaotic player. But when it comes through like that, you just can't beat it, can you? I think the link up McNeil coming on, and I think is he equal Jack Harrison's assists or bettered them already this season? Don't want to dig Jack Harrison out here, by the way, because he did all right today. But it kind of shows that McNeil did really well to close down for that goal too. It was a bad touch from Murillo, but it wasn't like a fatal bad touch. It was in our half, and McNeil was a good few yards away, but he did so well to just close it down. And then the ball he played through was outstanding. Basically, it allowed Doucouré to hit it fair time. I'm convinced he was going for the other corner, by the way, and it just went in that way and totally threw the keeper the eyes inadvertently.
It looked a little bit scuffed in there. I've not seen it back properly yet, but it looked like one of those where it just sort of I always think of the Strakwalerski goal against Chelsea where he sort of missed it to the point where the keeper goes down and it sort of just loops over him. It didn't look like the cleanest one, but listen, but do you know what you're so right about the McNeil pass though? Because just look at recent games we've had where you think back to the Liverpool game where we had the 4-on-3, 4-on-2 break, whatever it was, and I think there's another one as well. And then City away as well, we had that break and the City one in particular was very similar situations. That it's right at the end of the game, stretch, you've got a great chance to win it. And so often in that situation, it looks easy to play the pass and keep your composure, and they don't do it. And they managed to find a way of messing up. And McNeil, who was just come on, he's just come back. Fair play to him, like you said. The weight of the pass is absolutely perfect. And again, it looks dead easy, but Everton have shown so often in these situations that we can mess this up. It looks like a goal score opportunity. We can mess it up. But then obviously, you have all the amazing moments after that, the Doucouré in front of the away end celebration, giving it the sign me up to a new contract and all that. just all those little things. I believe as well, the players sort of after the final whistle, and they all went back over. They pushed him to the front, and he gave it the big one to the fans 3 times. As much as whatever happens with him, as much as he can do our heads in, he's got. If he does go, and this is his last season in Everton play, he's going to go on amazing terms, isn't he? Because I think whatever he does in between those big goals and those big moments he's had for him will all ultimately fade away into insignificance. Ultimately won't. He will be remembered for games like today and Bournemouth and Brighton, and I was remember the first goal, the goal he scored to put us 2-1 up against Southampton in the first full game back after COVID. And you said there, he's not someone who bosses games. He has just sort of become that moments player, hasn't he? He will just pop up and give you moments.
Yeah, he really has. It's such a funny thing because, like you say, in future years, the frustration of watching him play, it won't really matter, and he's got to leave. If he goes this summer and he doesn't come back, or if he comes back and he's a bit of a squad player next year, whatever, I think whenever he leaves, he's got to go on good terms because, like you said, he's been a key player in an absolutely awful period in Everton's history, which, I don't know, it sounds like you're damning him with faint praise there, but he's been vital. Without him, we simply would not have stayed up. Everyone talks about Jordan Pickford and the contributions he's made to keeping us up, which obviously he has because his saves have been as crucial as Doucouré's goals. But I think particularly, the goals against Brighton, the goal against Bournemouth, all those have been really, really key goals for us. And, I suppose there's other parts of his game as well where it's kind of less tangible, where he does look clumsy. He's not the best on the eye, but he does close down well, and he constantly runs, which, that will always make defenders second guess, because if they know they're not going to get any peace, that automatically puts them on the back foot. So that's not really tangible, but it does play a big part in it. And we've been like a wretched football team for years now, and he has played a massive part in keeping us up. And then, like you say, that celebration, it was so funny. I mean, it might annoy some people, I don't know, because I think maybe you've got to see the funny side of that. It's like the club have said, you know what, we're not going to do this. He's like, yeah, you sure about that? I think you might want to.
Yeah, I think the players, like Idrissa Gueye as well, I think the squad love him, don't they? He seems dead popular, with so many people there. And
this is a big part of the game, sort of away from playing. We've seen some top-notch piss boiling this season. The Anthony Gordon penalty, the Liverpool away end, things like that. I know we're quite sentimental, but it just really endears players to you, doesn't it? It's basic stuff. It's Tommy Gravison thumping his chest, but it does endear you to these players, especially if they do always try, even if they're not the best. I mean, I don't know. That's maybe one of the reasons why we're not, maybe it's not our fault we're not as successful as we might be, but we get attached to players for reasons outside of football and ability in that regard. I think he's another one of those, but yeah, I'm back in love with him tonight completely.
Yeah,
I saw his post match as well, just brilliant.
give him 10 more years.
Oh,
But yeah, and like the goal itself is like quite smash and grabby, isn't it? And like the way in which it comes about, and obviously it's late on, they put a corner, and it's in front of our away end, all those sorts of things. Like, and they, like, I think if you just saw that and you'd been to another game today, you would have thought Everton have gone there and just clung on and snatched it in the last second as they did. But like the goal was just quite at odds with the overall performance, wasn't it? Because I think pretty much from the first minute, do you know what actually reminded me quite a lot of the game there last year, where we just kind of went there and just like we're just the better team for pretty much the entire game. I think we were probably even more dominant today than we were last year, and just watching us, like I think we just got that balance pretty much perfect today, in the sense that they clearly want to play on the break, don't they? There was no pressing from them at all in the first half, and it was like, use up the ball. And we didn't take the ball and think, right, we're going to play dead expansive and both fullbacks are going to push up and we're going to leave loads of space when we do lose it. Like, we were just very measured in what we were doing. Like, we created the odd chance here and there about being, incredibly creative.
Yeah.
But just little moments that kind of kept you interested in the game. And I think Harrison's shot in the second half on the turn. Could have potentially had a couple of penalties as well, which we'll maybe come on to talk about. But it just felt like we never got carried away. And I think when I've watched teams play Forest this season, they've had the ball a lot, where to the point where they think, well, let's push up a little bit more, let's push up a little bit more, let's take another risk here, another risk there, and then they've won it back and they've sprung. And there wasn't really any counter-attacking opportunities for them today. So it just felt like the game plan was spot on. I think the discipline to stick to that and not get carried away when you do have loads of the ball away from home with the team third in the league, I think is probably testament to Moyes. And I imagine he would have drilled that into them throughout the game. Like, don't get carried away. Don't push up too much if you've got loads of possession. Let's just keep it tight. Let's just keep going back to our game plan, and eventually, if a chance comes, we'll take it. And it worked out very dramatically in the end, but it worked out, I imagine, exactly how Moyes would have wanted it to when he was sort of putting together this best version of it.
Yeah, that's a good shout, that, actually, because you kind of think a team who attacks with pace like Forest do, that should be kryptonite to Everton, because there's no pace in that side at all, really, is there? So you kind of think if a team can like spring a break like that, but they were so disciplined in defence. I think Mykolenko played well again today. The whole back four played really well. And it's kind of, I don't know, I guess that's the sort of encounter where Mykolenko does kind of come into his own. He's sort of, he generally has that sort of good game against Salah. Same again today. I don't think their front line really had much of a sniff at all, and that is testament to how well the defence kept their shape and never tried to push out too far, never got dragged up the pitch so Forest could hit it long over them. I think James Garner was good as well today. I think with Garner Gay, I think maybe getting dropped last week has done him the world of good, because he kind of came in, started well, and then he faded off again. So I think maybe now he knows there's a bit of competition, and I hate to say that, because you don't like to think consciously. Players think, oh, I'm in this week, it's fine, I'll just walk through it. But I do think if you've got competition in all places, even subconsciously, players are more on the game. So, yeah, I mean, that is looking good from that regard, because again, the midfield was good. I think Gibbs White was kept quiet all game, and he, I think he's a very good player. So, yeah, it was probably a perfect away performance, that, wasn't it? I think, and it's, you can go away, that could easily have been a draw, but to win it like that is just, it's fantastic. I think just on the first half and the attacking options, obviously Beto came on second half. Thought Brogy did okay beforehand, but he looks like a player to me, don't know what you think, who needs people close to him. He looks really good at holding the ball up and maybe bringing other players into play, but we've not quite got that with him. We've not quite got Ndiaye or Harrison today close enough to him. We've maybe not got the players to do that. I did think it was odd that he started over Chimiti, though. It's sort of, why would you do that if one's our player and the other's on loan?
Well, I think the only thing I think of is like they quite fancy taking him on loan again next year, maybe. or like they just don't think Schmitty's quite ready to be starting yet. But like, yeah, he's a weird one, bro. Like he's not had a shot on target yet for us. And I know he's not played loads, but like I can't remember him really like having a shot. And like, it feels like he
one
does.
Southampton where he kicked the floor and hurt himself.
Yeah. Like he just seems to like do a lot of. You'll have like one or two moments in a game each time that makes you think, oh, there's a player in there, but like he won't really be in the game for long enough. But I suppose that was the other thing today, wasn't like in recent weeks when we've had so many injuries in the final third, and obviously we've got Lindstrom out still. He looked at the bench and thought, you can maybe change the striker, but other than that, that's it. And you think about the players that came on today. It was Alcaraz came on, didn't he? Obviously, Beto came on. McNeil comes on late on in the game as well, and you think like they're three fine players to bring on in that situation. Yeah. Certainly, Alcaraz thought made a big difference again. Like I don't know what's going on with him really, whether it's just the fact that he's worried about the clause or Moyes doesn't quite fancy him. But I think in these away games when it gets a little bit stretched, and I think he did this again today when he came on, just his ball carrying ability just gives us something completely different on the break.
Do you think he's done enough already to earn like a move to Everton? I think for 15 million, it's a no-brainer for me. He's clearly a good player, like you said. The way he can carry the ball forward just 20, 30 yards from the halfway line, suddenly you're on top of their box. Not got many players that can do that outside of Ndai, really.
His shot was terrible at the end. Like when he spooned that, I sort of thought, we're not going to win. That was the end of my hopes. But everything else he did was pretty tardy. I thought
it was. Do you know what? Sort of, I can understand why. I don't know if is he one start away from releasing that clause or
not
something.
entirely sure what it is.
If it's like something like that,
so many different
figures. But if he is, I can see why he's not starting games because you don't want to back yourself into a position where you've got to sign him. So I can see him coming on a sub. I would like to see him come on a little bit earlier though, because he's just getting the last 15 of games and he's better than that. He's much better than that. Dare I say, bring him on for Doucouré, which I would have done today. Because like when Ndai came off, it sort of felt like, we've nullified ourselves a bit. Didn't transpire like that, but it always feels like that, doesn't it? And I'd like to see him play in that 10. But I think I said on Toffee Tuesday last week, he's not a Moyes profile player in that position, is he? He's not a Moyes number 10, really. And that worries me a little bit because I just think if we don't sign him for 15 million, someone else will, and he will be a very, very good player.
Yeah, he's just very positive, isn't he? And it feels like he'll be more in the game in these away games. I feel like every away game he's played in, I think he's done pretty well.
Yeah.
Maybe in some of the home games where we've had a bit less of the ball and he's been shunted out wide, he's not been quite as effective. But in the away games when it's stretched, and obviously the Palace one stands out in particular. He's been really good. But and just sort of finally, let's just sort of bring us to a close here. Moyes just so nice seeing him at the end going over to the away fans. Obviously quite calm, quite reserved. A little fist pump here and there, but I saw that someone put up on the I was going to say on the internet, anime, so I'm really old on the internet.
What year is this?
Someone put it on the old PC that the league table since he came in, Everton would be 6th.
It's incredible.
Which is mad. Which and listen, I know the bottom 3 have been horrendous again this year, but the fact that we're sat here and we're 18 points clear now with I think 6 games to go. Obviously Ipswich have got their own game coming up. I think they play Chelsea away, don't they, this weekend? So if they lose there or they don't win there, then effectively it is over. But on a miraculous, so it's over anyway. But I mean, the headline thing there is that the Premier League table since Moyes came in, Everton would be 6th, and when you consider where we were, and when you think back to those 2 games around Christmas, and you go to the Forest one where we were so limp, weren't we, in that home game and offered absolutely nothing on the ball of match, and you think about where Everton were at that point, it's a miraculous turnaround, really, and to be not just getting results, but be sat here and feeling so good about us getting results and having the warm, fuzzy feelings back that you get when you've got someone like Moyes who kind of gets it a bit more after the help. It's not an amazing end to the season. It's still not an amazing season by any means, but considering where we were, it's been a pretty incredible effort.
Yeah, I think we've just got to enjoy it now. We are in a quite a privileged position now where we can just enjoy the season without feeling any disappointment whatsoever. If even if we were like, I'm being very very glass half full here, by the way, but if we were in the chase for Europe, let's say, and there's that pressure on, and we're in there and we don't qualify, I think Carlo Ancelotti's season where we end up finishing ninth somehow and out of the European spots, that'll be a disappointing end to the season. I don't think we really can have a disappointing end to the season now. We've got 3 games left at Goodison. We can just enjoy them, like quite objectively, just enjoy going to those matches. So, from where we were to get us in that position is incredible. Another thing that stood out on that league table as well is like Bournemouth were like 14th, 15th, weren't they?
Like,
Which
I thought they were amazing, but
yeah,
not.
it's such a strange division this season, isn't it? Because I thought they were like clear, like one of the best teams in the division, and when they've played us, they've certainly looked it compared to us. But it's just so mad, and for Moyes to do that job with the same set of players, it is incredible, and it's nice that we can just sort of like take a breath, sit back, not panic about anything. Because, these last 4 years have been exhausting. And just on today's result as well, to kind of put it in context, I think, have you seen Forest's last 4 games at home? I think they beat Arsenal. I think they led at Brighton 7-0. They beat Arsenal. United, I know they're shit, but they beat them and someone else as well. They've beaten 4 good teams at home. So that was a really tough game to go and win. And, in previous seasons, that's equivalent of going to what? Maybe Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, all those teams we can never beat away. It's equivalent of that. And, we've gone there and beat them quite convincingly. And I don't think anyone could argue with the result. Just a quick one as well before we go. Craig Pawson today made some odd decisions. I think the two penalties were mad. I could see why they could have been given. The one where he sticks his leg out in particular, with the one that went to VAR. The worst decision for me, though, was the drop ball. Did you see that with Tarkowski?
I can't remember this.
Ball to do a drop ball to Tarkowski, pointed up the pitch. Tarkowski looked. As soon as he looks, he drops it. And then the Forest player, I think it might have been Chris Wood, was right in on Tarkowski, who had to knock it back to Pickford. But it was like he was trying to distract him while he dropped the ball. He just had a weird game.
See, the penalties, I thought the second one, I could see why that wasn't given. Like, I think it's just a bit of a weird tangle of legs. And
I think he stuck his leg out. And I think he kept his leg there.
I'm trying to be of the mindset now, like, I don't want to see one overturned unless it's like blatantly.
That's
I'm trying to get in that mindset. So I sort of get that one, although probably, it's one of those, if it'd been given, I totally get it. I don't think it would have been overturned by any means. But I think I thought the first one was just like so blatant. It's like
he just ran into him, didn't he?
Alcaraz takes a bad touch, and then like that Yates, who's, oh my god, what a yard dog of a player he is. By the way, he just came in and booted and fouled everyone, didn't he? He throws his arm into his face, and just even the ball gone.
For the ball.
I like that, but like, I mean, it's good we don't have to moan about those things anyway. But I just thought that one was definitely a penalty. Just a few other funny moments. Doucouré smashing the ball directly into Nico Williams' unmentionables.
Always good to see.
I mean, he's continuing his crusade against the Reds there, isn't he? With that was
Doucouré hates cop-outs, clearly.
Yeah, that was good, and just the away end looked boss and sounded boss all day today.
But, incredible.
Bringing back the Champions League, you're having a laugh chant, I thought was a particular high point, which inevitably sparked a very original rendition of "Sign On" from the.
Is that what triggered that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that must have been a very sweet moment for our fans. I thought, Champions League, you're having a laugh. I've not heard that, Les, probably since teams sung it to us when we qualified 20 years ago.
Time, yeah. We're talking 20 years ago now, aren't we? Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, but that was a great moment, and yeah, just a little reminder as well from Forest, like when from the outside you watch them think, don't mind them doing well, and then you get to the ground and I think they were singing "Sign On" and all the poverty stuff for a minute, and you're like, nah. Wouldn't mind just having a late collapse now in the season, but so yeah, all good.
It makes the weekend feel so much nicer. It's just nice. Love it.
Yeah. Do you know I've realised though now, like since we started being good again in the last few weeks and got a few good results, like as someone who's like a dad now and in me mid 30s, like match today's just on too late. Like just bring it forward an hour. I just want to go to bed.
Mate, if I'm not in bed by 10 o'clock, I'm so crabby. I just need to be in bed and like probably asleep by 10. It's no fun getting old. If anyone, if you avoid it if you can.
And like even today, like City won 5-2, so they're going to be on first. And like there's a few, Brighton Leicester was 2-2. So like, are we going to be on like probably like last or second to last? Like,
yeah, so, there's only about 4 games today, isn't there? And we'll still somehow be on at like 12, something like that.
I know, but no, that's. I mean, just great. What a great moment. And yeah, Everton almost mathematically safe, having been safe for weeks realistically. But if you're watching us on YouTube and you enjoyed this, do hit subscribe. Let us know your thoughts. Try and explain in the comments to me and Les Abdoulaye Doucouré. Like just like 50 words on Abdoulaye Doucouré.
Yeah.
And if you can pinpoint what he is as a player and why he's such an enigma, because it's past us for years and years now. And if you listen to this as well, do leave us a rating, do leave us a review. We'll be back on Monday with Les, Dave, and Roger, I'm assuming, for Blue Monday, and we'll have Byline on Tuesday. Just loads of content on that moment and that win throughout the week. So do get stuck in. Do let us know your thoughts.
Sorry, I've also got the Gary Lineker thing coming up tomorrow. So I did an interview with Chris Evans, not that Chris Evans, the other Chris Evans, who wrote Gary Lineker's biography, the first one in 30 years. I had a really good chat with him about that mid-80s team, why Lineker went to Barcelona, why maybe he never came back to Everton. The book's called Portrait of a Football Icon. Has he ever been considered a legend at any club he's been at? I would say no, which is weird, because he's got like a 1 and 2 goal rate. But we talked through all that. It's a really good chat. It's only half an hour. So yeah, give that a listen as well.
Yeah, there you go. That's available on YouTube and where you get your podcasts as well. But yeah, that's it from me and Les. Hope everybody has a great night. Looking back on that amazing moment for Abdoulaye Doucouré. We will be doing it all week here on the Blue Room. Up the Toffees. Speak to you again soon.